Her mother abandoned her at the market. A few years later, she became the richest merchant in the continent. The market was a living beast, a chaos of colors, cries, and acrid odors. In the midst of this agitation, Angel, a little girl of barely 5 years, stood still, nervously squeezing a piece of dirty fabric against her chest. Her mother, a woman drawn by fatigue and dressed in a dress worn by time, had leaned towards her a few moments earlier. Her voice was low, almost inaudible under the screams of the sellers. "Wait for me here, near the oranges. I will be back soon." Angel, obedient and confident, had raised her head. She looked at the silhouette of her mother moving away and melting into the dense crowd. She stayed there, a tiny fixed point in an ocean of movement. Time began to stretch, heavy and sticky. The sun, which was high and burning, began its slow descent towards the horizon, tinting the sky with orange and purple. But the sea did not return. Around Angel, the indifference was total. The legs of the adults were moving at full speed, sometimes shaking the little girl without even a look of excuse. The merchants were screaming to sell their last stock. The customers were negotiating with fervor. Angel felt herself shrink as the shadows grew longer. Fear, cold and insidious, began to tighten her stomach. Her eyes, wide open, frantically scanned each face, looking for the one who would reassure her. Night fell, enveloping the market in a menacing darkness. The stalls closed one after the other. Angel, trembling, still did not move, faithful to the given instruction. She did not yet know that this wait marked the end of her childhood and the beginning of a whole new existence. Alone, the wet cheeks of silent tears, she had become a child of the market. Angel had been standing near the orange stand for endless hours. Her little legs flared with fatigue and her eyes were red, irritated by the dust and the tears held back. The market emptied slowly, the bustle leaving room for a more disturbing nocturnal murmur. No one seemed to notice this fragile silhouette until a woman passed by. Her name was Mama Kafui. She was a force of nature, a vegetable merchant with arms muscled by work and a face marked by life, but illuminated by an instinctive kindness. She put away her tomatoes and onions when she saw the child. Usually, children from the market run, scream, or play among the stalls. This immobility was abnormal. Intrigued, Mama Kafui put down her basket and approached, her soft voice contrasting with her imposing appearance. "Hey, little one, what are you doing here all alone?" Angel raised her eyes filled with terror but did not find the words. She simply murmured, "Mom said to wait." Mama Kafui frowned, scrutinizing those around her. No woman was looking for children. Understanding the situation quickly, she felt her heart tighten. She could not leave this little prey at night. "Come with me," she said with a rough but warm hand. After hesitation, Angel took this hand. Mama Kafui put it in a corner of her stand, offered her an old blanket and a well-ripened tomato. "Eat, it will give you strength," she said. As the juice of the tomato flowed on Angel's chin, a glow of hope lit up. Mama Kafui lit an oil lamp, watching over the child asleep, saying that we would see what the next day would bring. The next morning, Angel was awakened by the return of the family vakam. The sun was already high, piercing through the stars stretched above the stakes. Around her, the market was coming back to life. Fresh tomatoes, sweet bananas. The cries of the merchants resonated like a daily war cry. Angel emerged from her disoriented blanket before meeting the benevolent gaze of Mama Kafui. "Come on, get up, little one. We're going to work together today," threw the merchant with energy. Angel, although lost, obeyed. It was the beginning of her training. Mama Kafui showed her how to sort vegetables, the beautiful and firm on one side, the damaged on the other, to sell them at a reduced price. Angel's little hands turned out to be agile and careful. She learned quickly, absorbing every gesture. Mama Kafui also taught her the delicate art of client relationship. Be polite, smile a little, and they will come back. Angel, shy, tried. When a man asked for onions, she filled the bag in silence, her eyes lowered. Mama Kafui laughed gently and encouraged her. "Thank you, sir," murmured Angel, blushing. The man smiled back. It was a little victory. The other merchants began to notice her. Uncle Koda, the dried fish seller, groaned. "Why do you keep this little Kafui? It's one more mouth to feed."
But Mama Kafui raised her shoulders, protective. She is useful, you will see. Aunt Amelie, a neighbor selling fabrics, was more tender and offered Angel an old blue dress. Dressed with this gift, wearing 2 heavy baskets for her, Angel began to find her place in this world of noise and commerce. The years passed, and Angel grew up at the pace of the market. At 8 years old, she was no longer the shy little girl. But life was not easy for her. Being a child without a known family attracted the looks, and worse, the mockeries. The children of the other merchants, led by Morel, the fishmonger's son, did not give her any gifts. "Hey, found child, where is your mother?" he often shouted, laughing with his gang. His words burned louder than the midday sun. Angel lowered her head, her cheeks on fire, holding back her tears so as not to give them satisfaction. She took refuge in the hard work. The days were long, from dawn to dusk. She wore bags of potatoes that pierced her shoulders, and when the rain turned the ground to mud, she slipped and fell, under the cruel laughs. Mama Kafui, a witness to her injustices, intervened sometimes, but she also knew that she could not always protect Angel. One evening, after a particularly hard day, where Morel had thrown a banana peel to make her fall, Mama Kafui took Angel's face in her hands. "Do not listen to them. They speak because they are ignorant. Life is hard, my daughter, but you must be harder than her." This sentence became Angel's mantra. She dried her tears. She understood that her value did not depend on her birth, but on her actions. She began to straighten her head, to look people in the eye, even Morel. She transformed her pain into a silent force, building an invisible armor that would serve her for the rest of her life. At 14, Angel's metamorphosis was striking. She had become a teenager with bright eyes and a sharp mind. Mama Kafui had passed on all her knowledge to her, and Angel had not only assimilated it, but perfected it. She had developed an infallible eye for quality. With a simple glance, she knew which tomatoes were juicy and which were floury. One morning, Mama Kafui let her manage a negotiation with a wholesaler. The man, thinking he was dealing with a naive child, announced a high price for his bags of potatoes. 20 pieces the bag, that's my last price. Angel did not hesitate. She inspected the merchandise, pointed out some defects, and responded calmly. 15 pieces, no more. They are not the first freshness. The man, surprised by his appeal, ended up giving in to 17 pieces. Mama Kafui, watching from afar, smiled with pride. Angel also excelled with customers. She understood that commerce was not just a transaction, but a relationship. "These onions will be perfect for your sauce, madame," she said, with a sincere smile. Customers loved her and came back specifically for her. But Angel had a secret. She dreamt big. Every night, in the light of the lamp, she meticulously counted the few coins she earned and slipped them in a small box hidden under a crate. She did not want to sell vegetables all her life. She was fascinated by spices, their vibrant colors and their exotic scents. She knew that one day she would have her own stand. She built her future, piece by piece, with unwavering patience. At 20, the long-awaited moment arrived. Uncle Koda, too old to continue, released a small place to work. Angel jumped on the occasion. With her savings and the help of Mama Kafui, she repaired the stand, nailed new boards, and installed a clean tap. It was modest, but it was hers. Then she realized her dream: sell spices. She traveled the neighboring villages with a cart, negotiating cumin, pepper, cinnamon, and turmeric directly from the producers. Back at the market, she placed her treasures in colorful bowls, creating an irresistible visual and olfactory mosaic. The success was immediate. Customers, tired of standard products, flocked to Angel the spice seller stand. She even hired Sonia, a young orphan, to help her grind the grains, reproducing the cycle of benevolence that Mama Kafui had initiated. Angel was no longer the found child who was mocked. She had become a respected figure on the market. Even Morel, her former tormentor, came one day to buy pepper. He did not dare look Angel in the eye, murmuring a simple thank you. Angel, magnanimous, served him like any other customer. She had no room for resentment. She was too busy to succeed. Her business prospered, allowing her to improve her stand and put money aside for the future. One evening, she said to Mama Kafui, "I still want to grow up. And Mama Kafui, her eyes shining, replied, "You have the heart and the head for that, my daughter. Nothing will stop you." At 35, Angel was at the top. She now owned 2 large stands and employed several people. She had built a small, comfortable house for Mama Kafui, now too old to work. Angel was a successful businesswoman, but she had never forgotten the value of humility and help. One morning, while she was checking her saffron stocks, an old beggar approached. Dirty, thin, her clothes in rags, she held out a trembling hand. Angel gave her a coin, but a shiver ran through her. There was something in the look of this woman, a familiar and painful glow. The beggar returned the next day. One morning, Angel heard a lullaby resounding, a melody buried deep in her memory. The shock was brutal. This broken woman was Annabel, her biological mother, the one who had left her near the oranges 30 years earlier. Angel felt a wave of anger, sadness, and confusion submerged her. She could have screamed, chased her, or demanded explanations. She watched Annabel, who did not recognize her at all, lost in her own misery. After a night of insomnia and a discussion with Mama Kafui, Angel made her decision. The next day, she approached the old woman. "Come with me, I will help you," she said, gently. Without revealing her identity, Angel led Annabel to the local hospital where the doctors took care of her frail health. Once stabilized, Angel offered her a small, modest apartment in the city, paying the rent discreetly. Annabel, moved but ignorant of the truth, accepted with gratitude. Angel thus cut the last link of pain with her past. The light heart, proud of the woman she had become, surrounded by her real family, the family of the market.